Every single morning usually between 5 and 11 a.m., we release our Central Indiana Scoreboard show. It's kind of like ESPN Radio Sports Center, but we focus on the Pacers, Colts, Fever, IndyCar, IU, Purdue, Ball State, Butler, major national sporting events, and of course, the best high school sports coverage around. We think you'll love it. Please join us. You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report podcast number 284.3, the Major League Baseball Report with Codey Emerson and Uncle Paul Tipton with guest Will Retherford. We talked Dodgers, Yankees, Reds, Cubs, and the National League Central, then had an open discussion including who were the favorites at this point of the season.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Welcome, baseball fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report and the MLB Report with Codey Emerson and Uncle Paul Tipton. And today, our guest is our 5 questions guy, our pro sports guy, and certified NBA Eastern Conference Finals expert, Will Retherford. Welcome, guys.
Yes, sir. Thanks for it. It's been a minute since we've gotten to talk some baseball, so
it has. We got skipped last week because of the Pacers. It's been Pacers, and plus the 500 was last week as well. So it's been pretty crazy around here. And for those of you who don't know, Will said that the Pacers would win in 6 games, and they would do it because they would wear down the Knicks. If it even got to 6 games, Knicks fans responded by saying Will Retherford is an idiot, and it turned out he was exactly right.
I actually think that all 3 of my predictions have been right as far as Pacers and what game so far.
And
now that I'm
you have a pretty good track record.
What's your finals prediction?
I think Pacers in 7. That's been. I've been steadfast the entire playoffs that if the Pacers get to the finals, they're winning. I think they're the best team. I think they're going to exploit the Thunder and take care of business.
I hope you're right, but I definitely don't think so. But let's talk some baseball.
With you, Will.
I hope you guys are right. I've been wrong twice already in this playoffs. I predicted the Bucks would beat the Pacers. I predicted the Cavaliers would beat the Pacers. And I'm predicting that the Thunder will beat the Pacers. But we are here to talk baseball because all we've talked is Pacers for weeks. Okay, here we go. The Yankees just beat the Dodgers. Let's start with you, Paul, because you are a Yankees fan. Make you feel any better about the weekend?
A little bit. The Yankees now have a better record than the Dodgers. For all the people
that'll
who
make you feel better.
About 18 runs last night, so that will make me a little bit of solace.
I guess when I was looking at this series, I was like, I guess I'm rooting for the Yankees because, Max Fried. I have no quorum to really hate the Yankees. And I know we were talking before we started, it's not really the typical Yankees teams of...
very likable team.
Yeah, it's like there's no real reason to hate them. Anytime the Dodgers lose, the Dodgers are a very, very, very hateable team. So
right now, they definitely are.
Yeah.
Amen.
Will, how do you feel about Paul Goldschmidt on the Yankees?
It's been a resurgence year. I thought it was a good marriage for him as far as maybe using the last of his days. His power alley was always been to right center. The short porch definitely plays to his strength. And I think it was a team that needed a bit of veteran leadership. I know Judge is obviously the captain, but he can't do it by himself. And Garrett Cole, his injury, he's probably in and out of the clubhouse. It was a great signing, and I'm happy for Paul Goldschmidt. He deserves nothing but the best.
And Ryan Yarbrough over Yamamoto, that's got to be good for Yankee fans to see.
Stunning.
3-0 now.
What people thought, and I'm not, this is another just jump I can have on the Dodgers. They've always they always come in with a plethora of pitching, and they always have a crap ton of injuries with their pitching.
They sure seem so.
And I feel like I'm playing the world's smallest violin for them because I don't give two hoots about them. Oh, we're dealing with oh, shut the hell up. You have the highest payroll in baseball. You've got Ohtani, who's, speaking of pitching, might be on his way back. I mean, from the reports and the stories that I've been seeing, he might. I think he hadn't thrown any like simulated games or anything like that, but he's starting to, I think, slowly ramp up some pitching, which, God help us all. We'll pray for that time to come much rather later than sooner.
Yarborough's been quite a signing for the Yankees.
Quite unexpected. I think all Yankee fans are kind of staggered by. It's one thing to do it against the Angels, but something else to do it against the Dodgers.
It's honestly kind of funny. He has pitched a majority of his starts outside of Yankee Stadium, which I do think may be why his numbers look the way he do. Obviously, a resurgent career. I mean, he's like a 4+ ERA guy over his career, and he's sub-3, and that's pretty remarkable. In an age 33 season, I might add as well. But I
never know though when you get to a new team what a pitching coach might show you that really changes everything.
For sure. I think that Yankee Stadium is typically a difficult pitcher's ballpark. It is hard to, it's just a lot of runs. It's obviously the short porch in right field, left field's inviting as well.
200-foot right porch. That's how deep it is, right? Only 200 feet.
That's what it feels like.
One of us might be able to hit it out there.
At one point, maybe. Not now. With these shoulders, I couldn't get the bat past my sternum. So, how are you feeling at this point about the Yankees, Paul? 36-22 is pretty good.
I think the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Blue Jays have been doing really well. So I wouldn't. I don't think it's a runaway division for sure.
I honestly, I think the Yankees are going to run away with this. I think this division's done by the All-Star break. I mean that this. The Blue Jays they're 11-19 against teams above 500. That's pretty damning. That they're have been fortunate to play the schedule they have so far. They have a negative run differential. The Rays are a team that I think could potentially, but that division sucks. The Orioles have been an absolute joke this year.
Wow.
The Red Sox can't get out of their own way.
At one point in the offseason, we had top 5 teams most likely to win the World Series. I believe you had the Orioles in that
I did.
group.
I did. I had them. That was, I think, pre-Corbin Burns, his signing with the Diamondbacks, and that definitely hurt them. But, I mean, their pitching's just awful. Their starting rotation is just miserable. They have young talent, as far as their field players and their position players and stuff, but they just can't get out of their own way, and they're bad, and so are the Red Sox. I think the Yankees win 100+ games and win this division by 15 games, probably when it's all said and done.
Wow.
I don't see Tampa's seeming like always going to hover around. I think they probably end up
weird, isn't it?
It's Tampa for the last probably decade has just been, they're not a phenomenal baseball team, but they're not horrible. They're always stuck
the team you can't kill. It always seems like they're going to be horrible going into every year, and they never are.
I think they'll probably jump Toronto. I don't see Boston putting it together. And then to bump off what Wilson, and I think we touched on this the last time we talked about on this podcast, about how I thought Baltimore might be able to turn it around, but by God was I wrong. I mean, it's gone into a full-on tailspin where they basically said, we're open for business, I think, as far as, when the trade deadline approaches. which ain't too far off, by the way. It's hard to imagine that the trade deadline's approaching. But I'm curious about who they're going to get calls on. Do they get calls on? I mean, some of their young talent. I don't think they'd be willing to part with some of their young talent, like Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, those players. But it's
No, those two not for sure.
And
I guarantee
Holiday
they'll
not
get calls.
either.
Yeah, they'll get calls. I guarantee you, probably.
Hearn for sure.
Yeah, some of their pitching but yeah, it's been. I'm in agreement with Will. I think the Yankees probably just run away with this thing. I don't. They're just so good. I think 100 games is very attainable with that lineup, with that pitching. They're looking like one of the best teams in baseball right now.
You guys think the Tigers are going to run away with the Central too?
The abysmal division that is the AL Central.
It's actually not bad. They have 4 teams over 500 right now.
Give it a month. Give it a month. The AL Central will even itself out.
The American League's awful. It's sad how bad those teams are. If the Yankees are not able to make it to the World Series again, then I think this has been a failure for this organization.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Tigers are good. I do. I think the Tigers are legit. They have the pitching, they've got the arms, and they also just have the ability to hit with runners in scoring position, which is something that you need year round. It doesn't matter if you can hit with 2 outs, drive in run, extra runs, you're going to be able to win a lot of ball games. And their pitching, their staff's just so good too.
I'm really running out of hope for the Mariners and the Rangers. They're going to win. One of them is going to win that division probably. They just don't look. Neither one of those teams look right.
I think Houston still probably takes it. They're dealing with not having Gordon Alvarez in the lineup right now. I think his wrist. I'm not 100% sure I read that. I think I read something about that the other day. Houston, it's unfortunate. They're obviously on the tails, or they're on the downward end of their. I don't even know if we'd call it a dynasty or their run or whatever the hell we'd call it.
Definitely not dynasty.
Yeah, but I mean their dominance over Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But they still got plenty of talent on that team to take the division. I don't believe in Seattle. I think it probably might. If I'm putting money on it, which I'm not, because that's a mediocre division right now. But I'd probably say either Houston. Houston probably wins it with Texas. Texas has too much talent. They're kind of like they're in a weird spot. They have too much talent to be this bad.
That's what we keep saying.
I think the Mariners the Mariners pitching staff. If the Mariners can score 3 runs, they're gonna win the division because their pitching is just that good. Like 1 through 4. I mean, we're talking about George Corby, Luis Castillo. I know, but like. The pitching plays year round. It's not like these are not guys that are just going to suddenly just start throwing 4 innings outings and giving up 5 runs. Like that's just not going to happen. Cal Raleigh is on a generational type heater right now with what he's been able to provide for them offensively. Like, no, they're not a team that is great, and they're a team with a lot of weaknesses, but their pitching just plays, and in a weak AL and in a weak division for the most part, like I think they are the best team if they stay healthy. That's pitching health is always a concern, but if they can stay healthy, they're the best team, I think.
Who the hell saw Brian Wu being the ace of that staff?
That's a guy that is, if he's healthy, he has been lights out, and he's just not been able to stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, 2.82 ERA on the year in 70 innings, 63 strikeouts, and didn't they just get what's his name? George Kirby. Which he was hurt to begin the year, and I think it's just starting to come back. The numbers are awful right now, 0-2 with an 11.42, but we know what George Kirby's capable of. He's capable of being another top-line guy at the top of that rotation. If he gets things figured out, Will, you mentioned it, that pitching is, if you have a Brian Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert's doing his thing with a
Bryce Miller.
2.37. It's pick your poison on who you want to face in that rotation. If George Kirby gets to being back to George Kirby form.
Well, let's move to our favorite division, at least of the podcast, and probably everybody here at the table except for Cody, the National League Central. I have to admit that I believe the Cubs are going to win that division. Ugh.
Whoa.
Ugh. It made me sick to my stomach just to say it.
That's why he took so long.
I concede. Oh, and the Reds are not going to.
Oh, wow.
That's
Have you told Susie?
Susie still believes, I think.
Okay. Will,
Do we
Will,
wanna-
are you predicting 100 wins for the Cubs?
Now, let's get back to reality for a second. I'm going to list their last series dating back to May 12th. Their opponents. These are all have all been 3-game series. They have played the Marlins. They have played the Chicago White Sox. They played the Marlins again. They played the Reds. They played the Rockies, and they played the Reds again. That's been their last 6 series. 7 series have been against teams that are not even close to touching 500 other than the Reds.
That's what pretty teams do. Take advantage of a weak schedule.
But when you have played quite literally 3 weeks against a weak schedule, I think it inflates
nice balanced team, plus 97. They just seem to be getting hotter.
They are 12-13. They're right at 500 against teams with the 500 with greater than 500 winning percentage. So they're playing average ball against the good teams. But if you beat up on the bad teams on your schedule, I guess there's room for improvement somewhere.
I still think that
you see a 2-team race with the Cardinals.
The Brewers will be there in the end. If anybody that doesn't think the Brewers won't be involved when it's all said and done, like Pat Williams is such a good manager. Yelich is playing out of his mind. Jackson Chourio is just a great ball player all around, and they just find a way to do it. They make no sense. They're cheap. They don't pay players. They trade guys earlier than they should, and somehow they continue to win series in, series out. They've won a 7-game win streak, 8-2 in their last 10. So
I would have disagreed with you until this weekend when they went to Philadelphia and handed the Phillies some hope for Codey.
The Braves have to win for there to be hope in there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yes.
By the way, I just got a message from producer Susie, and she says thumbs down on the hope for the Reds, despite the great starting pitching. No consistency.
I'll say this about because I don't pay as much attention to the NL Central as obviously everyone else here. And I know you have Ohtani, you have some other great people having great seasons. You talk about a superstar or potentially already reaching superstar status. Pete Crow Armstrong's the real deal. Holy crap, is that kid good? You obviously has the speed, and that's why he kind of broke in. But when you're hitting 15 home runs, 51 RBIs, 280, I don't watch the Cubs as much as or everyone else around me. But when you're putting up those kind of
I
numbers,
always try not to.
for good reason. I did not see this coming from him. I thought he'd, just be a good speed guy, could maybe hit for some average. But by God, is he figured he's rounding into a true 5-tool player. And maybe is going to garnish maybe give Ohtani or, I don't know, some run for some MVPs. It's fun when you kind of have a young, maybe not for the rest of the division, obviously, because you hate to face him. But he seems like he's becoming the real deal.
I guess, yeah, I will acknowledge PCA and say that he is. One thing that I've noticed that when I've watched PCA is what plagued PCA was slider and curveball away. He had a huge issue laying off that pitch. His plate discipline last year, wasn't going in what seemed like with a consistent approach at bat to at bat, and he's spinning on those pitches that he was really struggling with, and he's fouling stuff off, he's fighting into counts, he's working deeper into counts, and he's being rewarded by his patience and his ability to hit mistakes by opposing pitching staffs. My thing with the Cubs is if they're not able to trade Kyle Tucker, if they're not able to re-sign Kyle Tucker, what do they do with him at the trade deadline? Because that's somebody, he's had a rough month of May, but I mean, that's still an all MLB kind of at bat that he's giving you night in, night out, 4 or 5 at bats. How does that affect that team when you remove that bat from the lineup? Does that make a difference? Their pitching staff is capable at best. It's weak. They're powered by their offense and their ability to score runs at Wrigley. So that's my question mark of this team is what is Kyle Tucker and how does that affect this team?
Did you know he left the game early today?
I did not know that, actually.
Got hit on the hand.
Ouch. That's never fun.
Yeah,
No,
we say he's...
And he didn't even know that, and he jumped right on it.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, I say Kyle Tucker had a rough month of May. He still his stat line, still 284, 12, 39, 16 stolen bases, 918 OPS. It's like, so if that bat's not in the lineup in your 2-hole, that's a big loss. And this team is not good enough to win the World Series. Their pitching staff will not allow that unless they go and just sell the farm to get relief help at the trade deadline, which I don't see. This management and Theo Epstein doesn't seem to really like to do that. And I think that their only option is going to be to trade him. And I think that will ultimately potentially be their downfall as far as winning the division. I still think they'll make the playoffs, but it could affect their division hopes for sure.
Will touched on it earlier. It's who are you picking right now? I mean, as far as the National League has, if I'm looking at this right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams with 33 or more wins right now, and it's
a couple more teams with potential to climb that board for sure. With the Diamondbacks, the Braves, if everything came together, maybe even the Reds.
Corbin Burns just got pulled and is not looking good. So,
Diamondbacks. I'm with the Diamondbacks the way Greg is with the Reds.
I can see that.
I believe it's over. They don't have any bullpen help at all.
Nope.
And the Pittsburgh Pirates, their 1979 team was one of my favorites of all time. We can say that about them. So, we are family.
What are they going to do?
Series.
What are they going to do? Like, I mean, I can't imagine a world where they trade Skeens.
I feel bad for Pirates fans.
But like,
except for they're the same people who cheer for the Steelers, so I don't feel too bad for them.
And the Penguins.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, how do you even assess Paul Skeens' value? He's pre-arbitration. Like what's even the starting line to get a guy like Paul Skeens?
Your entire farm system? People were talking about, and it's Pittsburgh's.
I'm sure he'll be a Dodger by the end of the year.
Stop it!
I'm not going to say by the. I'm not going to say by the end of the year.
I know. I'm just
hearing.
I jest.
Here in 3-4 years, I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility. If you're Pittsburgh, what do you do? It's like you're not going to have enough money, I don't think, to pay him, or the Yankees or the Dodgers or another team, the Mets, Phillies.
The Dodgers will not rest until every All-Star is theirs.
You're going to have a big market team offer Paul Skeens. We've talked about it might be one of the richest contracts in baseball history with who knows what all the pitching market is and everything like that. Definitely for a pitcher, probably. I just don't see Pittsburgh doing it. I mean, they're not going. you would not have enough money, I don't think, to, build around everybody else. I don't know what the hell they do. It's you talk about a team that has a really good rotation, but the bats just continually fail.
And it just looked like a couple years ago that lineup was going to be so good, and it just has fallen apart.
I do have one friend who's a Pittsburgh fan, and I, give him flack every now and then. And I asked him what he wants to do with Paul Skeens, and he obviously says keep him, but, money talks. And I said I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be able to fork up that. I kind of see it as, what I experienced this past offseason with. I wanted the Braves to keep Max Fried, but the Yankees offered him a more lucrative contract, and the kid didn't want to turn down money. So I don't blame him.
No, of course. And the Dodgers, Paul, we talked about before the season, could they break the all-time record for wins? Right now they're just 36-23. Our question for everybody, are they still the favorites in the National League?
I think they are, yes. I don't see Will doesn't think the Cubs are even going to win their division, and
Phillies.
I don't see. I would have said, this has been a bad week for the Phillies. So, who you got, Will?
Padres.
Oh no!
I predicted that one.
I disagree completely.
That team is so good. They have probably the best manager in the National League. They are so good. I think. They've been my pick. I believe since like week 2 of the season. I think they're going to win the World Series. I think it's finally time. Slam Diego gets one. But they're only 2 games back of the Dodgers, and the Dodgers. We say the Dodgers complain about injury issues, but that's what happens when you literally give a bunch of contracts to injury-prone pitchers. Like, I don't know, you get Tyler Glass now and expect the Glass house to suddenly withstand a season. It's like the dude's made of, I don't even know. It's ridiculous.
Straw.
They have straw. It's worse than straw. I like the Padres, I guess, a little bit in the sense of Mike Schultz there, former Cardinal. And I like the way that I think at the trade deadline, they have a GM and Preller that will go by, and he will say, where are our weakness and how do we make this team better? And I trust that. I think it works out for him.
I like the Phillies at this point. What about you, Cody?
I will never say the Phillies are Mets.
Nola looks.
I get it.
In my life, Lowell Mets is bound to happen. It happens every single year. So I will never say the New York Metropolitans. I think it's probably I'm going to throw the Cubs in there, but I think it's a 3-man run. I'll put the Cubs third in this list. I think it goes Cubs, Padres, Dodgers. I really do think it's probably those 3. I probably would. It's too easy to pick the Dodgers, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I would love it if I wouldn't complain if the Padres won, because America hates the Dodgers. I will root against the Dodgers with whoever they're playing against. So yeah, I'd probably take the Dodgers right now, but I 100% hope I'm wrong.
God, the Phillies are so good.
They are. They're better than the Padres, I think, Will.
I honestly, I think I'm talking myself into it now.
I think the Padres can make a nice run in the playoffs, but I don't see them winning that division. There's no way. I don't even think they play the
Dodgers. Got some goofballs on that team.
Yeah, they have. They are just unpredictable, and they can get cold at some weird times.
Yeah.
But if they get hot at the right time, they got a nice roster.
They're 6-4 in their last 10, but it's because they played the Pirates 3 of those games.
Yeah.
So,
we're sitting here. I'm thinking the Phillies have a rotation of Jesus Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez, Taijuan Walker, Zach Wheeler. Nola's on the IL with a taint strain, I think, from getting 9 runs scored against him in the
Will Retherford, go to your room.
I'm sorry.
They're actually the Phillies are better with Nola gone.
I agree because he's so bad. He has been
Correct.
so awful this year. They are absolutely better with him not there.
He might come back, but he's been a liability so far. Yes.
It's just always convenient when you get shelled for like 9 runs and then I've got a left adductor micro tear in my shoulder and now I have to sit. I think it's a taint strain or he's got a stubbed toe. A finger ligament that is in his glove hand that is bothering him.
A bruised ego is what it is.
It's called a get your ass in the bullpen and figure this out and get that knuckle
sprained
curve right.
uterus.
Yeah.
Stop.
The one thing I will say about the Phillies is, and it's going to be a big loss when you talk about Jose Alvarado. They're really going to miss him. And
they'll buy at the deadline. They'll buy it.
Yeah,
I'm sure
they probably will. Their bullpen is probably the one spot that they do need to improve on.
Philly doesn't need any more success. Those fans cheer for the Eagles and the Flyers. We don't want them to.
Don't.
Well,
I will always pray on the Phillies' downfall.
Well, if you had to pick, Cody, Mets or Phillies, one of those has to win your division.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Come on now. One of them's
Is the Miami Marlins.
The Nationals have been looking pretty good, guys.
Stop it. You quit it right now.
I would much rather have either one of those. Probably the Phillies, I guess.
Okay.
Because the New York Mets are such a fun they're such a fun team to make fun of.
They really are.
Oh my goodness.
They really are. Almost as much as the Knicks. And we bring it home.
I hate the Mets. I hate them just as much.
By the way, have I mentioned how much I hate the entire state of Oklahoma? Except for you, Billy Sims. I love you, Billy Sims.
Can I have my 5-minute rant session?
Yes, you may. After we all say, go ahead. Give 10 seconds, and then I want you to go on the Braves.
The Braves are an embarrassment to baseball. I don't know how this team can. I'm at a loss for words.
Go on and vent, Cody. Don't hold back.
Seriously, I've stopped watching. They're a dumpster fire of an offense, which you would think Ronald Acuna has come back, and Acuna's been great. He's been phenomenal. I think he already has like 3 home runs, 7 RBIs in his first week or so back, or whatever the hell it was. But the Braves sit at 27-31, and as I told you guys before we started recording, there are only 3 other teams in the National League with a worse record. That would be the Miami Marlins, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the 9-50 Colorado Rockies. So the Braves have the 4th worst record in the National League.
At least they get to live in Denver.
And to make matters, even more joyful for me, I feel the world for AJ Smith-Shawver, who just is going to have Tommy John. The kid was pitching his ass off this year, and he was our 3rd, 4th guy, and was really looking great. And when I saw a clip on Twitter of him mouthing, "I heard something pop." I'm like, "Oh, great!" Because what else can go wrong for this team? The pitching has been phenomenal. I mean, the bullpen is starting to somewhat get it together. Chris Sale is starting to round into Chris Sale Cy Young form. I think he's lowered his ERA to right close to 3, but he's getting no one on that staff is getting any run support. The Braves can also not win close games because I saved a photo that I'll share, and this was tweeted back on May 25th, and I think there's been a couple more that you can add to this, but so it says, if you feel like you're slowly losing your mind watching the Braves, here are the run deficits of the Braves' losses over the last month. 2-1-1. They got blown out by 7. 1-1-1-1-1. 2-1-1-2. This team cannot win a close
Whoa.
game. It's abysmal. It's this offense. I don't know. And I'm at a point where I don't think firing Brian Snitker is the answer, but something's got to change. And I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know. I am one who has defended Brian Snitker his entire tenure with the Braves. I don't know what the answer is. I'm sitting here. They just lost 2 out of 3 to Boston. And let's see who. I don't even know who. I've stopped.
And the rest of the world rejoiced.
I mean, we got a ring in 21. So, look, I mean, Austin Riley is he's hitting 275, but when he's not hitting, he's striking out. He's got 70 strikeouts already.
We hear that in Cincinnati.
Well, yeah, I know. I wasn't going to bring up De La Cruz, but this team is way too damn talented to be this bad. I know we've said that a lot, like with Baltimore and with a couple of other teams, but this is a team that every year in and year out, has World Series aspirations, and they're 4th in their division right now. And I don't see them I think something I also talked to you guys before, we've talked about how deep the National League is. You're digging yourselves a pretty deep hole right now. I mean, you not only screw getting back to 500, if you get there, you're still got to climb a mountain, because right now, as we sit today, and I promise I'll wrap up with this, the Braves are 5.5 out of the wild card, so it's not awful, but you'd like to see them, if they get on a run, I guess they can be in contention. But 5.5 out of the wild card, and they're 9 out of the division. I just looked. Yeah, they are 9.5 in the National East. So it is not a great time to be an Atlanta Braves fan. And with that,
I have 2 observations for Cody, for you and the Braves fans. The Spanish word for churches is iglesias, so that makes you a non-believer, I guess. And number 2 is you need to tell the Braves announcers, because everything is pie in the sky. I have never heard those announcers.
They're the worst.
They couldn't admit that anything was wrong. If they had Juan Soto playing for them
props
right now.
to Brandon Gaudin and CJ. I'm gonna butcher his last name, Nichowowski. It's one of those. I love, first and foremost, Brandon Gaudin's an Indiana guy. He graduated from Butler. I've actually had the chance to talk with him a couple of times, right when he became the Braves announcer too. So I will accept no Brandon Gaudin slander. That might be the only reason I turn it on, is to watch Brandon Gaudin and listen to him, because I think he's been phenomenal. That's the only other reason, and Braves people have been talking about it, is to watch Acuna, I guess. I mean, he's so fun to watch, but that's about the only bright spot right now. It's bad times. It's not bombs away in Atlanta, GA anymore. It's I don't even know a phrase for it at this point.
I'll say this, Paul and Will and I have had the great experience of having great announcers in our lives. Cody, I don't think you have. Maybe your guy Brandon, but
Brandon
boy,
Gaudin,
the Braves announcers are just hard to tolerate, and they have been since the 80s.
Oh, I will not accept Chip Carey slander either.
Cody, you're going to have to.
Will, I hope you're taking
Will,
great
the
care
Cardinals
of him.
fan, is down.
I would take Dan McLaughlin with him running over 8 kids with a DUI over Chip Carey. I mean, it's a shame that Dan McLaughlin got fired.
There you go. Plus,
but you had the great Jack Buck.
Correct.
Of course, you didn't get to hear him live, but maybe the greatest to do it. Although there have been a lot of them.
What might turn this season around is the Braves doing what they did last year. Just have Chipper Jones, Jeff Francoeur, John Smoltz, and Tom Glavine just joke in the booth and call the game like they did last year. And pour Larry a crown is a phenomenal phrase, but that might turn the season around. I don't know.
I do want to say this publicly. The Reds announcers right now are phenomenal. They at least make the broadcast fun. Barry Larkin might be the exception, but he's not bad. So I won't take anything away from that.
Although we all know that Greg's favorite all-time announcer is Michael Kay with the Yankees.
Yes. Oh, yes. But the Yankees have had some good ones. He is not one of them.
No,
oh, my gosh. I would rather... I would not have the volume on if he is announcing a game. That is for sure.
Yeah, Michael Kay is pretty awful.
Pretty awful. All right, before we go, everybody agree that the Yankees are the favorite to win the American League?
I'd say the Tigers.
Fair enough, Cody?
Because I want parity and I want someone else to root for, because my team sucks right now, I'm going to say the Tigers also.
So Will and I agree it's the Yankees. Paul and Cody say the Tigers. And there we go. The best MLB report to date. That was a lot of fun. Will, you added a lot to it. I hope you'll keep joining us. Thank you so much to Cody and Will. And I just got to say again how much I love doing this with my Uncle Paul. One of the reasons I wanted to do the Central Indiana Sports Report was to get more opportunities to talk sports with some of my favorite people. And Uncle Paul is definitely one of my favorite people. Thank you so much for listening. Please consider sharing the Central Indiana Sports Report with your friends and family. And as producer says, even your enemies. Even your enemies deserve to hear great sports podcasting. If you are willing to help, we are willing to accept. And we humbly thank you in advance. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.